guys? I am Dr. Cade, and I'm sitting here with Coach Kaysen once again, and we're going to jump into nutrition stuff in regards to pregnancy. So, food is the building blocks to life, right? This is so essential for you, nailing this for you, and obviously for baby. But for now, we're not going to jump into baby. We're going to talk specifically about mom during pregnancy and in that fourth trimester, and making sure that you're getting the absolute best stuff for you and for baby. So, Kaysen, like before you jump into food and we just give general recommendations, what do we always recommend people do during pregnancy? Oh, I thought I was going to stump you. Blood work. Everything should be based off of blood work, right? So these are going to be general recommendations. But of course, like that. It's going to be is just a guess based off of what you need in certain trends, because we're all made the same way, correct, right? But there might be certain things, absorption issues, right? With maybe it's leaky gut, maybe there's some liver stuff or some gallbladder stuff. But your blood work is going to tell the story of what you need, and maybe even more important, what you don't need. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, even with blood work, that's still not an exact science. So we're still guessing, but without it, you're really guessing. So it just gives you a foothold, a grounding to start somewhere.
Cool. I like that. And, no matter who your provider is, they should be pulling labs. And sometimes Kaysen likes to go a little bit deeper. But again, things should be based off of those labs to give you the best chances possible for a successful pregnancy for mom and for baby. So, Kaysen, what are the top 3 things to get rid of food-wise during pregnancy?
I think number 1 would be seed oils. And if you don't know what seed oils are in today's world, well, just watch the news.
All right. What's your favorite app for seed oils?
Seed Oil Scout. Just found out about that. Seed Oil Scout. It's an app, iOS, or what do you have? That other type? Android.
Really?
Yeah. So, anybody can get it, and it shows you restaurants in the area that don't use seed oils. So, pretty darn cool.
What are the top 3 most common types of seed oils?
I would say canola. I don't know what's highest, but canola, which actually was made to be an engine oil. So you're eating engine oil. Crazy. Safflower oil, sunflower oil, corn
oil, soy oil.
Yeah,
cottonseed,
they're all
safflower,
over.
Sunflower.
I see sunflower like in chips, and crackers. It's in there all over the place.
And why are seed oils so damaging to people?
Because they are inflammatory as a general, but basically they're highly oxidative. So they create oxidative stress. So they steal molecules from other molecules, and it just jacks up the show. Not to mention they're not really real. They're processed. Like if you think about trying to get oil out of a soybean, it takes a lot of heat, it takes a lot of pressure, and there's not a lot of oil in it. So it's just fake.
Takes a lot of heat, a lot of rancidity there, but they're cheap, volume produced. So a lot of times these things carry a lot of like the genetically modified stuff, a lot of pesticides, right? A lot of other junk that's coming along in it. But again, Kaysen said is overwhelmingly inflammatory, right? And I think that's good. So what is the oils to replace that with? Best things to add in oil wise.
My favorite is 100% grass-fed, grass-finished, raw butter.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
There's one place in town to get that?
Yeah, if they ever have it, Food and Thought.
And maybe another one.
What's
Oikos,
that?
Oikos.
Oikos.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe they have raw butter.
Thank you, Chris. Oikos is awesome.
Extra virgin olive oil, first cold pressed from Europe.
Yep. We've got our favorite version of that too.
Avocado oil. I don't know if you've seen all the details on avocado oil, but apparently it's more rancid than we thought it was.
Well, so I think things are constantly changing, right? Yeah. And then there's a lot to do with how things are grown, right? A lot with overwhelming majority of avocados coming from Mexico, right? There's so many details on that
Mexico.
Stuff, but maybe a little bit less damaging than some of the seed oils, but.
You didn't even hear me. I did
you
the little.
did a little jingle.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Did you say coconut oil?
No, I didn't, but that's awesome.
And what's the gold standard with coconut oil?
Just like olive oil, cold pressed and organic, because I think that can be heated to be made into oil, which can damage the fats in it. Right?
Say that again.
Like, don't you want coconut oil to be cold pressed? So it's like pressed out of the coconut when it's cold.
Usually they'll say like unrefined extra virgin. Yeah. And it's that the unrefined version is a little bit chunkier, right? It smells more like coconut oil, it tastes more like coconut oil. And like what we've always said is I think that's a good, like the gold standard to have if you're using it more as like a therapeutic thing. But the refined is still pretty awesome too. And like if you're cooking eggs and you don't want your eggs to taste like coconuts, then use the refined. But in all other cases, unrefined would be the gold standard.
You've got ghee, which is clarified butter. So that's just got some of the milk proteins taken out of it that can help people if they're really allergic to that.
And we'd want to use the same standards there as the butter, right?
Yep. Grass-fed,
grass finished.
Yep.
Raw, ideally.
What else? Did I miss anything?
I think that's good. And just for those that are wondering why raw, right? Anytime that we pasteurize something, we've been sold the idea that, this high heat that we expose the liquid to or the substance to, right? We're killing all the bad bacteria. But, in the dairy's case, we're also killing all of the good bacteria. And we're also denaturing that fat, right? Exposing it to a high heat. And so, similar to the seed oils where we're doing like expeller press, exposing it to high heat, we actually change it from a good fat into a rancid fat, right? And so raw is definitely the gold standard if we can do it. I think that's good with fats. How about, that was number one, was replacing seed oils with good ones.
Yeah.
What would be the next top thing?
Well, we talked about this a little bit before we started recording. I just realized Roundup, glyphosate.
Yeah.
So I think, and we talked GMO. So GMO, like we're talking about soy, we're talking about corn, we're talking about sunflower. A lot of those are GMO seeds. So you're going to get GMO when you get those rancid oils. So you're getting GMO out. But yeah, Roundup, glyphosate sprays on non-organic food. So I think that kind of goes in with GMO.
So if you want to learn more about this, we're going to kind of give you just a brief snapshot, but you want to go to our nutrition talk where we jump into this stuff in depth. But glyphosate is incredibly damaging to the cells of the body and the good bacteria in the body. And so one of the biggest things that it causes is when we're consistently eating it is leaky gut, right? And so it changes the microbiome, it changes the integrity of the gut wall and what we're able to absorb, what we're able to break down. And that's when the leaky gut happens. It's kind of an open door to allowing anything from the gut, the good, the bad, the ugly, directly into the bloodstream. And it can cause inflammation then anywhere else in the body, right? And if you're eating a lot of meat, make sure that that meat is organic. That's definitely the priority. Even if you're not eating a lot of meat, it's still more important to put your money, invest into good, clean meat before vegetables and fruit. And so if you had to choose, ideally it's both and we're removing it completely. But again, you can go to our nutrition talk where we go through the explanation of that. But there's a great company, a great organization called EWG where they release for fruits and vegetables the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen every year, where they're talking about the 12 dirtiest fruits and vegetables that have the most amounts of pesticides, typically the most genetically modified as well. And then the Clean 15, the ones that if you have to pick and choose, the ones that you don't have to buy organic. Yep. Good.
Yeah. I can't remember number 3.
So GMO was the most important thing. Number 2 to remove, and we talked about the most important things to add there, right?
Yeah.
And then the third most important thing to remove food wise was,
I can't remember.
Drum roll, please.
Okay, give it to us.
We're changing this from 3 to 2 because neither one of us can remember it. So thank you guys very much. We're going to talk supplements really quick. Most important supplements to have for mommies.
That's awesome.
And my absolute most important one would be pretty much a multivitamin, also known as a prenatal during this time. I know that you're a big fan of those. And that is super important just to make sure that you've got a safety net.
Yep.
A lot of moms feel nauseous during pregnancy. A lot have food aversions. And this is, again, a safety net to make sure that you're minimizing that. Number 2 would be probiotics. And number 3 would be a good fat. My favorite good fats would be a good clean fish oil, cod liver oil. Rosita makes a great product, or choline. All of these 3 good fats are really important, right, for brain health, neurologic health, which we all know that neurologic system controls everything else. When we take care of that nerve system, it takes care of everything else. So those are my 3 favorites. You got a favorite probiotic that you're really loving right now?
Well, you can't go wrong with Saccharomyces boulardii, S. boulardii. I think that's the most studied, maybe the most ancient. I don't know.
L. reuteri is awesome. Yep. And how about brands?
What is it? Microbiome Labs that makes Restore Flora. Yeah, we like that. I don't really have any that I go to, but you would know.
Terraflora, I think, is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, seed is fantastic. Like just rotating
seed,
through
yeah.
so that you're getting some diversity. There's a lot of great companies out there, but again, I think diversity is king, right? Where you're getting a different strains. You're not just repeating the same thing over and over. And you know, eventually, whether that's after a couple bottles or you know a couple months, I don't think you have to take it every day. And incorporating some good probiotic-rich foods, fermented foods, would be a smart idea too.
Yep.
Okay, so top 2 things, not top 3 things. Supplementation, and I think that's it for this video on food.
Let's add a 4th supplement with a disclaimer, though.
I like it.
With a disclaimer, because absorption is key, right?
Oh,
So, like, in looking at people's blood, I've seen way more like fat absorption issues than I ever realized there were. And so usually that's because of the liver, or lots of people have had their gallbladder removed. So I think TUDCA is an awesome one to consider, but you should do your blood first so that you know if you need it to help to absorb that multivitamin that you're taking in, that grass-fed beef that you're eating, and those healthy oils that you're eating as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and those seed oils do a lot of damage, and the ability of that gallbladder, you know, to handle that, to process it, to absorb it. Awesome. I like that addition. Very cool.
So we made up for the not 3 things to take out by giving 4 supplements.
I'm glad you feel that way, but I still feel a little emptiness in my stomach right now that we both forgot it at the same time. I'm Dr. Cade. This is Coach Kaysen. Thank you for joining us. And in the next video, we are going to talk about toxicity, stress, exercise, and sleep.
Wow. Look at that.
Not the next video, but that's what we'll do in the sequential videos. Thanks, you guys.
Okay.
Appreciate you. Looking forward to meeting you.
Accountability.